Welcome back everyone to my language paradise with none other than Emily in my backyard. Since it is feeling a little bit warmer today, I have a special review for you from Pimsleur. I have definitely seen results from this program, and I really wanted to share what is actually in the program, because I think before I even tried the program myself, I was kind of skeptical. I didn't really know what it was, and that's kind of why I put off trying out the program for myself for so long. Even though this review is going to be for Pimsleur Russian, there are obviously a lot more programs to be had with Pimsleur. So anyone who has tried them out, let us know your thoughts. The very first program that was worked on by Dr. Pimsleur was the modern Greek version, and after that he kind of expanded into some of the Romance languages as well as German. And since then, obviously a lot more programs have been made. Russian originally just had parts 1 through 3, and I think when it started becoming more popular, they also added levels 4 and 5, but I think the complete 1 through 5 levels all come for the most popular languages. There are even some with just 1 level. For this review, I'm only going to be reviewing parts 1 and 2, but make sure you check back in again because I will be reviewing parts 3, 4, and 5 once I get to them. So each lesson lasts around 30 minutes. I believe that they recommend you to do 1 lesson exactly every single day for the best results. We're going to get to what I did personally, because I definitely did not follow that formula, but that is what is recommended. So I actually bought the very first level of Russian Pimsleur through Audible, but it was very expensive, so I did change to the subscription service, and that costs about $14.95 per month. I believe that these lessons were also originally made for business people going over to Russia or whatever other country they were trying to learn the language from, and the vocabulary and phrases definitely reflect that at times. Vocabulary that this program might teach you may not directly apply to you, so just keep that in mind. I will go into my thoughts about that a little bit later at the end of this video, and I do have my notes here in case I forget anything. For part 1 and part 2, they usually begin with like a 30 to 50 second conversation between 2 native speakers, and that usually takes place in like ordering at a restaurant or going to a hotel or even talking on the phone with someone else. Lessons 1 through 10 have greetings, just as hello, goodbye, of course, thank you, excuse me. You can also learn how to say things like I am American for both female and males. Express how to say I understand, I don't understand, I understand a little bit. You learn the names for Russian and English in the first 10 lessons. Lessons 11 through 20 start expanding on that. Keep in mind that everything you learn from lessons 1 through 10 will also be repeated in lessons 11 through 20, either just through spaced repetition or through those 30 to 50 second conversations that you hear at the beginning of each lesson. Moving on, in this section you're going to learn how to tell time by asking what time it is, telling when plans will happen. So for example, at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, they definitely go into numbers. You also learn time expression words, so today, tomorrow, tomorrow evening, here, there, etc. You learn question words such as what, where, what time, how much, how many, so those are really helpful. And they do go into numbers a little bit more in terms of money. So I did just mention that they do review a 1 through 10 with your time expressions, but then they also go up to like 100 throughout the course. They do also use the Russian rubles, so it will be as if you were paying someone in Russia, I guess. And of course with the numbers, anyone who has studied Russian before will know that you have to use different sorts of cases with each number. So they don't obviously explain those rules to you with the grammar portion. They just let you listen and kind of just pick it up naturally, because I do not like learning numbers in any language, to be honest. So that was a plus for me. And then the lessons continue just building on your vocabulary with such verbs as to buy, to give, to have dinner, to have lunch, to eat, to drink, to would like to, or saying wouldn't you like to. Other vocabulary such as newspaper, hat, milk, beer, wine, water, and coffee. As I said, a lot of those situations that are simulated will be happening in restaurants, so you do learn a lot of relevant vocabulary for that situation there. Vocabulary concerning money would be such things as how to actually say money in Russian, how to say you have enough, you have too much, how much does something cost, expensive, and saying something that is too expensive for you. There's another case that is introduced in this part as well, such as the accusative in such sentences as like or something like that. You also learn how to express saying for someone. So for me, for you, for him, and so on. Part 1, lessons 21 through 30. You get more into learning about your family members and building on vocabulary in sort of that niche. So wife, husband, children, asking how many children you have, son and daughter. Vocabulary does not pertain to me. As I said before, this is for business people who probably have families at home. You also learn how to describe children, for example, if they are already big or still small. And then you get an introduction of how to say I have, you have, he, she has, and so on. You learn saying that someone is not here, and you will also practice saying things like Moscow and Petersburg in Russian too, saying that you've visited either place. There is another review with the numbers, this time practicing them with a going to the gas station, I think is one of the simulated conversations in one of those lessons. Vocabulary asking for directions, such as how do I get from here to there, saying something isn't far away, saying left or to the right, visiting a few relatives, to spend time, to be arriving, to be going, saying what you will be doing, how to say something, how to say, and also to want. They do introduce the informal you a little bit later than I would have liked. Up until this point, so pretty much all through part 1 of this course, of all 5 parts, you only get the formal you, which honestly, I would have liked that to be at the very beginning, but they introduce it to you at the very end. You'll also learn how to say really simple things like what does it mean, how do you say, and asking how much time. Part 2, as I said before, there will be a lot of spaced repetition from what you learned in the very first level, so it's a really good review as well. Lessons 1 through 10, you will be able to ask how long you will be in one place or another, when you arrived to that place, and telling how many days you will spend. And you will also explain obligations, so explaining how to say to have to, for example. They start to teach you a lot more vocabulary in this unit. City, saying to the city, alone, to work, work as a noun, to know someone, station, asking who is that, saying unfortunately, saying cafe in a restaurant, a female friend arriving from somewhere, how to say to visit, how to say someone is visiting me, telling where someone is from, asking the question word from where, expressing together, to receive, I don't think so as an expression, before that, after that, then, when, letter as a noun, and saying by metro. So there's a lot of introductory things in here as well that are really good to build a foundation. There is also more introduction to the genitive case in Russian, so expressing when you have a lot of something or a little of something. How to express when things are open or closed, and you will also learn how to say until what time, so that time expression, as well as saying it's open until 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and so on. And days of the week, such as Sunday, are also going to be introduced in this lesson, but they will be finished off in the next section that I will be reviewing right now. So lessons 11 through 20, time expressions are often, not often, next week, this week, soon, yesterday, now. You will also be using expressions such as until what day you will be somewhere, so until Sunday, until Monday, and so on. Vocabulary will conclude with office, in the office, how to say hello informally, how are you, both formal and informal, cup of coffee, friends, girlfriend, what a pity, the saying have a good trip, and also kind of just random ones such as newsstand, time, to leave, Kiev, there is a lot to see is an expression that I remember learning when I was using the program. How to say what you like, thank you very much, street, in front of, telephone, store, stamps, to walk to, and post office, as well as showing ownership, so saying if something is hers or something is his. Lessons 21 through 30 for part 2. Vocabulary, of course, is being expanded on, and you are more communicating with people in the post office, for example, or making plans with someone, with a colleague. To call, from there, possible, address, to look for, hotel, pharmacy, aspirin. To turn, knowing how to say straight ahead, explaining that you like to go to the movies, saying until this evening, this is a good idea. With us, to be able to family, Russian films, saying nothing, museum, to go to the center, as in the center of your city, a souvenir, in America, bank, important meeting, can you help me? In terms of grammar, how to say to not have, you will be expressing what someone else needs with the dative case. More with directions, as I said before, you will also be making suggestions. So saying sort of the informal, let's do this, or let's go to this place, for example, in English, and telling when something starts. So something starts at, or something ends at is also introduced. And expressing in order to. So in order to do this, I need to do this. There are a lot of really good introductions to basic vocabulary, I would say. And I would also say, to the main complaint that people may have with Pimsleur in general, that the vocabulary is not very useful, right? My approach to that would just be, even if I don't need to use it immediately, I still think that it's important to see sort of the structures and the patterns that you can pick up on, even through just listening to Pimsleur. I really hate learning numbers, and at least I was able to learn 1 through 100 in a pretty small amount of time without a lot of effort. I think as long as you use Pimsleur in the way that it says, in terms of repeating the phrases or vocabulary out loud, I think that is a really valuable resource, and I think it's well worth your time. And I believe it's also great for busy days. I was learning Russian for about 2 hours per day, I would say, for the first 2 or 3 months. I think after that, it was really important for me to find a way to still integrate learning into my daily routine, and podcasts as well as Pimsleur were great things to do that with. I could just take it on the go with me. However, I think when you do see advertisements for Pimsleur, they're going to say, oh, like, reach an intermediate level of speaking in 30 days. And do I think that I reached an intermediate level in 30 days, even when I was using it consistently? Definitely not. I would not even say that after 5.5 months of studying, more or less, that I'm even at an intermediate level. Like, I just wouldn't say that. So of course it's going to be exaggerated for advertising purposes. However, I still think that it's a great resource to use in general. I was really faithful about using Pimsleur every single day. Sometimes I even listen to 2 or 3 lessons in a row. It just really depends on what works for you, but I felt that after reaching level 1, I felt accustomed enough to the language in order to learn faster. Sometimes I did 2 or 3 lessons, sometimes I think max would do 4 lessons in one day. And I still felt like I could pick up the material very well, just because the material that I learned in one lesson kept on being repeated in another lesson. Another thing that I am such a fan of, and this was definitely not my idea, called Trimsleur, but I did get it from Seabolt Speaks from Jonathan, who does run that language channel, and he uses the Trimsleur method, recording what was already learned in whatever level you're on, just taking a recording with your phone and still replaying all of the material just in Russian or whatever target language you're learning. Because I think even with all of the pauses that are built into this program, a lot of it is still in English. I think they begin speaking to you a little bit more in Russian for when you are reaching like level 3 and on. But until then, it is a lot in English, so that you can really learn to pronounce things accurately. I would say, though, that it really helped me to just record what I already knew anyways, and just listen to the Russian over and over, so that I can really memorize the material a lot better or review what may have gotten lost along the way. I will also open a Discord server that is linked down below in the description for anyone who wants to check it out and download it from there. I only have parts 1 and 2 recorded, mostly from the conversations that you hear at the very beginning of each lesson, but I will of course upload parts 3, 4, and 5 in the coming months. That was pretty much my whole review of parts 1 and 2. As I said before, highly recommended for anyone who especially wants to start speaking from day 1. And before we leave, don't forget that you can also check out my own progress in real time from this playlist linked in a card for you guys above. I will show my progress kind of pairing Pimsleur with the Living Language program for Russian. That really got me into the learning process a lot faster. That's all for now, you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see each other next time.